101.
What's going on with your form?
What's wrong with my form?
You're kind of like flopping all over the place.
What do you mean by that?
I think your lats are tight.
How do you know?
Let's go test it. Let's test them out.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Quist.
And I'm fitness expert Jeremiah Kruger.
And today we're going to talk to you about testing out whether your lats are tight and then show you some really great moves to fix them if they are. So the lat muscle group and your lat length is very important to us as strength athletes, power lifters, and bodybuilders because many times we overdevelop that muscle group in our training, which can lead to tightness, which can affect our position and our ability to do other types of movements correctly. And the reason that is because of the origin and insertion of the lat muscle. So the lower attachment of the lat attaches from some of the bottom ribs, the lower part of the thoracic spine into the lumbar spine, into the thoracolumbar fascia, and then onto the top of the pelvis and the sacrum. And it's that broad fan-shaped attachment at the bottom that really makes it an important muscle group because it definitely affects that spine position. The upper attachment of the lat connects up onto the intertubicular groove on the back side of the humerus along with its little brother, the teres major, and then it has some fibrous shoots over to the medial border of the scapula. When most of us think of the actions of the latissimus muscle, we think of, well, lat pull downs. It pulls the arms down, or it does rows. And of course, the lat does do shoulder extension. The lat does do shoulder internal rotation and adduction. But also, some of the movement patterns that people don't know about that the lat does, it is a very strong shoulder blade depressor. And it does that in conjunction with a few of the other muscles at the shoulder. And that motion is really, really important from the standpoint that it helps to open up the subacromial space so your rotator cuff doesn't get pinched. And then the lat definitely affects trunk position, and it also acts as a muscle of respiration. So a lot of things going on, a lot of actions because of its very broad connection all throughout the backside of your body.
So, because the lat attaches to so many points in our spine and our pelvis, it's really going to affect the way that you perform overhead exercises. For example, the opening clip that we did where I have that extension fault, I'm basically flaring my ribs or puffing my chest to get the weights up overhead. That really shouldn't happen. It should be fairly easy to press your hands up over your head without having to change your spinal position. If you're not able to do that, any overhead exercise is going to be a challenge. Handstands, handstand walks, wall climbs, downward dog, many different yoga poses, you're going to have a difficult time with your hands over your head, keeping that spine neutral position. So this does matter to you.
So the muscle length test. So the lat muscle length test. So the lat muscle length test is super easy to do. So we're going to go over it really quick and teach you how to do it on yourself or how to do it with a friend. Here's how to do the lat muscle length test. Step number 1 is to posteriorly tilt your pelvis, flattening your lower back into the mat. You're going to hold that position the entire time. Step number 2 is extend your arms up. Make sure that you're in external rotation so your thumbs are facing up, putting the lat on a pre-stretch. Step number 3 is to take your arms straight back over the top of your head, keeping your elbows nice and straight, and seeing if you can easily touch your arms to the floor. The shoulder joint has 180 degrees of flexion, so you should be able to get that arm perfectly straight. So this would be an example of someone who does not have tight lats. So the other possible result is that the person does fail the lat tightness test, meaning that there is some tightness preventing their hands to go all the way to the floor. Some people will tell you that you should differentiate then. Is it the teres major? Is it the lat? And I don't think that really matters because the fix is pretty much the same no matter which muscle group it is. So I always just, if they're tight there, then I just try to define, is it the lat and not the joint, the GH joint? Because sometimes people have arthritis or some type of issue in their bony impingement that isn't the lat causing that problem. And here's a couple ways to figure out and make sure that if you get a positive lat tightness test, that it is the lat causing that. So as they're coming down and they are able to get to that position, if you then rotate them into internal rotation, so palms up, and they're able to come a little bit further down then, that would be a good indication that it might be the lat because you're slackening the lat slightly by going into internal rotation. And then if you external rotate by bringing the thumbs back up, if they pop back up, I would think, gosh, that might be the lat. Another way to look at it is if you let them fall into an anterior tilt, creating some space down there, and their arms easily hit the floor then, and then you posteriorly tilt, pressing the back down, the arms pop off, that also would be a really good indication that it's a lat muscle because as you posterior tilt, that lower attachment is pulling, causing those arms to pop back up off the floor. And another thing that I always look at with these muscle length tests is there a little bit of spring at the end of the motion? Usually you have that kind of soft muscle spring feel, in addition to the fact that if I press down through here, if the person feels a stretch in their lat, those would all be signs that they do indeed have tight lats. So now we're going to move on to, if they have a tight lat, how do we fix it?
So here we have 4 lat exercises that are going to help improve the way you move. I would suggest doing these in the order we show you if you're going to do this as a warm-up before you do a pull day or maybe an overhead pressing day. But if you're doing this as a cool down or on a recovery day, mobility day, whatever, it doesn't really matter the order you do these exercises.
Here's the first move to help lengthen that lat. This one is an SMR technique, or a self-myofascial release. You're going to need a block and a ball for this. What you do is any wall surface, you're going to put your block on the wall, pop the ball onto the block, and then you want to get into the meat of the lat and the teres major, right in there, and then let the hand kind of fall over the top of the head, and then one foot over the top of the other foot, and then you're going to pivot your body slowly on the ball, keeping some good pressure for 4 reps. Then you're going to reach your hand up, give me 2 big reaches over the top of the body, then grab your wrist and give me 2 reaches with a pull. And then repeat that pattern 4 times.
All right, so our next exercise is a PNF stretch for your lats. Really all you need is some light dumbbells and a bench. I'm gonna lay down, get my feet on the bench, then get a posterior tilt in my pelvis, trying to get my lower back down to the bench. Now I'm gonna lower the dumbbells down overhead. Let's say I get stuck right here. What I'll do is I'll contract against that resistance, almost like I wanna push the weights up without letting them. I'll hold this contraction for about 5 seconds, then relax, let them sink a little deeper. Again, I get to a sticking point, I'm gonna hold and contract against it just a little bit, 5 or 6 seconds. One more time, I will lower down. Maybe one last time, I'll contract against it, 5 or 6 seconds, and now I've achieved my full shoulder range of motion. I'm gonna hold it here for 10 to 30 seconds, get the big stretch in the lats. Getting out of this can be challenging, so if you have the option, it might be safest to just let go of those weights and then bring your arms back out of it.
Our third lat lengthening exercise is going to be an active stretch. What we're going to do is attach a band up high, then pop your hands into the flat band. Usually a lighter band is better for this. Put your feet into a staggered stance, bring your elbows so they're pointing forward, and inch your way forward. Once you feel you got a little bit of stretch on the band, push straight up towards the ceiling until you feel an intense stretch in those lats. Make sure not to lose your spinal position, so you're going to stay in spine neutral the entire time as you're pressing up. At the top of the motion, really extending at those elbows, maybe even bending that front knee to add a little extra stretch on it. I typically hold for 3 to 5 seconds when I'm in that active position, then bend the elbows, and then press forward and repeat. You're going to want to do about 5 reps. Oh, that one feels good.
All right, y'all, so our final exercise here is going to be eccentric chin-ups. I'm going to pre-stretch my lat by getting my shoulders into external rotation, palms facing up. I'm gonna grab the bar, and if you were able to do chin-ups, you'll benefit from this one. If not, stick around and I'll show you an alternative. So for the chin-up, I'll pull myself all the way up, and then very slowly, I'm gonna lower myself down, lengthening my lat as I go down. To get a little bit more of a stretch at the bottom, I'll even protract, pushing my shoulders in front, pull back up, and again, real slow on those eccentrics with a pause at the bottom by protracting the shoulders. If you're not able to do chin-ups, or at least do a few chin-ups, you'll just do this dead hang. So come to the bottom here, protract your shoulders, and you'll just hang for about as long as you can, essentially doing a quasi-isometric static hold or stretch to strengthen the muscle in a lengthened position.
Everybody, thank you for watching. You should have nice, fluid, silky, loose lats now, so enjoy them.
Please give us a like. That helps us know that this video was good and you liked it. Give us a comment about new topics you want to talk about. We want stuff that actually pertains to you. That would be awesome to have some ideas come from you guys as well.
And also subscribe, so you can see more.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.